Let's go to our correspondent who's in Tel Aviv in Israel. That's SABC correspondent Sarah Coates, who is joining us live now. Sarah, thank you so much for your time. A lot of concern about this particular conflict, the escalation and what has been happening on the ground. Let's start with, first of all, are you safe where you are? What can you see around you?
Yes, thank you. Look, I am safe. I'm in Tel Aviv and I, as you mentioned, have a bomb shelter very, very close. It would only take about 20 seconds to get there. But let me tell you about what I am seeing, what I'm hearing right now. As you can see from our live shot position, it really is a route along here, along the coastline, where military aircraft, can transport up north and also back down south. We're hearing huge amounts of buzzing in the skies, Apache helicopters flying north. This comes after an infiltration attempt on Israel's northern border just a matter of hours ago. In the last 5 or so minutes, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, which of course is one of the terror organizations which lives down in the Strip, in the Gaza Strip, it has come out claiming responsibility for this infiltration. We do understand that a number of people there have been neutralized by the IDF, and people up in the north in the settlement of Kiryat Shimona, they are being told to stay inside their shelters. This is a directive pretty much for everyone right up on the border near Lebanon. Down in the south, we're also seeing a huge military build-up on the Gaza border. Over the last 48 hours or so, there have been more than 300,000 army reservists put up their hands to say they will stand up and defend Israel. Now, tens of thousands of those people are already on the border, others being deployed to other regions. So it's certainly a big operation, and I think it's pretty safe to say there might, this will be continuing for the next few days at least.
And one of the things, with conflict like this is that we often get caught up in what officials and authorities have to say, and governments and how they're responding in all of this. But the ordinary people on the streets, what are they telling you?
Look, they're absolutely devastated. Everybody here knows somebody who's either been kidnapped, killed, or has been called up to the IDF to serve their country. It really is like a collective grief, a collective heartbreak. Even one of my friends, I was speaking to her before, she said around half of her workplace is missing. That just gives you a sense of how many people here are still unaccounted for. We do not know the death toll yet. It continues to rise down in the south after this horrendous massacre at this nature party on Saturday. That death toll there is rising. It's already sitting at around 260 young people, with authorities still counting bodies, still trying to identify who these people are. Now, right across the country, emergency centres are being set up for grieving families, for people who cannot find their loved ones. They are taking personal effects in, such as toothbrushes, hairbrushes, anything with a little sample of DNA, so that authorities can then try and match it to these people that have been found. But let me tell you, the mood is heartbreak. People have seen this far too many times. A man I was speaking to before, he said it is just a vicious cycle. And let me tell you, I only lived here for 6 years. That is not as long as a lot of these people, but that is what you see. It is a vicious cycle, and people have had enough. They want this to finally be put to a stop.
And one thinks about also not only the death toll, but also those who've been taken hostage. And I wonder what is the latest then in that regard, and what has been the response from the government on that?
Well, look, this is really complicating efforts with potential, talk of a potential ground operation in the next 48 hours into Gaza, given the fact that there are so many hostages. Authorities believe that there could be more than 100 innocent civilians plus soldiers who have been forcibly kidnapped and taken into Gaza. We've all seen these traumatic, terrifying, heart-wrenching pictures that have been splashed and uploaded all over social media of elderly grandmothers being paraded in golf carts through the coastal enclave, of people tied up with their hands tied behind their backs in the back of pickup trucks, and little children being abused by other children down in the enclave. So right now, Israeli authorities, they haven't released any information about these hostages. It still seems as though a lot of these people, their whereabouts is unknown, but it is certainly extremely concerning, and people are just, as you can imagine, I think worried sick doesn't even, get to the bottom of it. But people are just in agony over this situation. And as I mentioned, the fact that there are just so many civilians now kidnapped by Hamas in Gaza really complicates any potential efforts for a ground operation there into the Strip.
And a lot of people, of course, concerned about, the possible incursion on the ground and what this means then in the days to come. Let's talk about that complete siege of Gaza, which the defense minister was talking about earlier on. Have they explained what all of this will entail?
Well, look, they have said that they have completely cut all power or water or food and gas and electricity to the coastal enclave in a bid to really suppress Hamas. This comes amid a heavy bombing campaign by Israel right now. Fighter jets are targeting Hamas infrastructure there in the Strip, really trying to take away any capabilities it may have to continue to launch rockets or launch attacks into Israel. Hamas is well known for having terror tunnels which it uses to smuggle fighters and weapons through these little tunnels which run underneath places like schools, which is, what people are talking about when they say sometimes that Hamas hides behind human targets. So right now, Israel is carrying out a widespread campaign in the Strip from the air, trying to cripple Hamas. But, as I said, over the next few days, nobody knows what will happen. But there certainly is a real feeling in the air that something may happen soon.